Dog moms, and what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Dog moms.
Hi, I'm Amber Aquart, and this is the lovely.
I am Chrissy Joy.
That's right, and this is the Dog Moms, the show where we don't know what we're going to talk about, but we know it's about dogs.
That's right. We have a really exciting show here. It runs a little different than any other show you may have watched. We have something that's called the Pet Roulette, which is full of topics that we actually haven't been able to review prior to the show.
That's right, and there's 4 topics in every episode, and we only get 4 minutes to talk about these topics.
Which is never enough.
We like to talk a lot.
I know.
At the end of the 4 topics, we get to answer some of your questions. We get 2 questions we both get to answer, and at the very end, you guys will learn how to submit your own questions too. So
it's so true, and really, we don't know what the topics are going to be. We don't know what the questions are. There is no scripting here, so you're really getting our raw input and how we really feel about some of these topics. Some of them can be a little emotional too, so we'll have to just gear up for that.
Oh goodness!
All
right, let's get started. I've got the magical button here.
Let's do it.
Okay. Oh gosh.
Oh, wow. Yeah, talking
like
emotional, right? Here it comes. No, that's a loaded topic, first of all.
And we are both dealing with older dogs right now too.
Tell me a little bit about this
Yeah,
guy.
Oakley over here is probably about 12 years old. I adopted him when he was like 2.5. You know, when you adopt an older dog, you don't actually really know how old they are. Right. But that's our guesstimate, and I've had him for 10 years, which is like a huge milestone. You don't always get 10 years with your dog, especially an older adopted dog. And that's been really cool. But I know you can testify to this too with your dog, which I want to talk about. But it is so hard to see them get older.
It is.
That is hard.
It is. And I'll be honest, I don't have a lot of hands-on experience with it because I had a childhood dog, but by the time she ended up passing away, I had gone to college, moved out. There was a family dog.
Yeah.
And so I actually wasn't present to kind of watch this aging and to watch the last day. Yeah. So I didn't have that closure, didn't have that experience of witnessing the way this happens.
Right.
But I'm seeing it in Beasley. I have a dog who's now going to be 11 this year. Holy cow.
Yeah, it's really hard to watch, but it's also kind of beautiful. And before we talk about the sad parts of it, I heard this saying once that I absolutely love, and we got to get a good close-up of Oakley's face. Oh,
he's going to give a close-up of himself.
Oh yeah, come look at my face. But we like to say that he's not only got a sugar face, but losing all the color on his face is from all the years of kissing the color off. And so I think it's one of the cutest ways to look at your dog's aging face when they've got all the gray and white whiskers. It's there's just been so much love, and I'm just getting all of it from the kisses. But
yes, that life experience.
It's a hard thing to experience.
Boy.
I have unfortunately lost family dogs, and I've lost quite a few dogs due to old age, and that's a blessing in itself too. And I think that one thing that's really important to know is that as dogs get older, they just really want. Look, he's like, Mom, I want to be with you.
I know.
They just really want to be with you.
Yeah,
that's all that they want.
And it's true. It's true because Beasley loves to work. He's a crazy trick dog. He loves to do out stuff, but he's slowing down. And that's okay. But I'm realizing that he also loves his naps.
Yep.
He also loves the sun himself.
Yep.
He also loves the slower paced walks. He doesn't want to keep up with the border collies.
Yep.
So you also have to take time to change your lifestyle to make sure that dog still gets what that dog loves to do and what you love to do with that dog, especially if you're a multi-dog household.
That's right.
And be able to change your lifestyle a little bit because all of a sudden, I don't want to take him on those long hikes. He's not tolerating the heat as well. I have to now put things so he can get up on the bed, all these little changes. And it's okay. It's a beautiful phase to age. Aging doesn't have to be sad and scary.
Yep.
It can be a beautiful thing that you get to do this with your dog. But it's also so important that you know your dog well enough that you start to witness some of these things that you're going to say, I see my dog struggling a little here or slowing down or whatever that may be.
Yeah, and I think that's where it's important to be in really close contact with your vet as dogs get older. I know dogs tend to get after 8 years old, they get visits twice a year
Yes,
instead of
biannuals.
A yearly visit. But yeah, like instilling those things, you know, paying attention, maybe putting more carpets down. If your dog is having a hard time getting places, we got a ramp for my car so Oakley can get in and out nicely. And really, we just, like you said, we like prioritize differently, right? Well, our walks might be a little bit slower, but he's doing a lot more sniffing.
That's
We're
right.
doing things that he enjoys, and I think it's really important to just cherish those years with your dog. And then as they get older, just knowing what makes them most comfortable, and maybe it's just being near you and being with you is all
and they
really
change.
need.
They change. They have different seasons, just like we have different seasons. So understanding your dog, knowing how to cater life for them to make it best for them. They're going to change. We're going to change, but we get to do that beautiful process together.
All right, well, we have another topic.
We do. Let's do it. That was a loaded one, all about aging.
I know, my sweet sugar face boy.
Oh, look at this.
Mindful
Walks with dogs. That pairs really well to
does.
kind of what we just talked about with aging, really spending that time with your dog. Mindful walks. This is cool because I learned some things from you.
Oh.
I'm like a busy bee, and I'm like almost like I think I have to be way too active with my dogs. But there's such a value in letting a dog just explore and have their walk.
Yeah.
Right?
I think it's so fun. I like did a challenge one time on social media to like everybody, and we should totally do it like on the Dog Moms.
would be fun.
Where for like National Dog Day, I was like, all right, guys, instead of taking your dog on a walk, I want your dog to take you on a walk and see where your dog takes you, and just like let them decide their route. And it was so cool to see the results because some people, their dogs would take them to like the local pet shop.
Oh, that's
or
so
some other
great.
people like discovered like new parks and new things that they had never like gone that way before because it wasn't their like original plan for
Right.
their walk. And it was really cool to like see that, you know, giving our dogs just like some little choice in that matter, like it can actually really help you understand your dog a little bit more. And I know you've done that a lot with your dog.
Yeah, I mean, I love to do hiking. I really love the opportunity to go hiking and allow them to be on a long line. I think it's really good for their body and their gait, like the way their body works, is stepping over roots and learning of all that kind of like proprioception with their body. With terrain. I love that. I think that's so good for them, and that's a form
Especially
of exercise.
for senior dogs.
Yeah, especially for senior, and it doesn't have to be, you know, the AT trail. It can be a little easier. But I really enjoyed being immersed in nature that way. But I also love taking those walks, and, you know, if you have a routine, but you're like, okay, I want to make it more interesting, you know, just do it backwards one day. Like, just change up how you choose to do that. Or have little stations on your walk where maybe you choose to do something with your dog. Maybe it's something you're working in your class. Maybe it's a new trick you're working on. Maybe it's just teaching your dog to exist quietly in a restful state.
Yeah.
Maybe at a busy section that you pass by.
Yeah.
I'd really love to kind of have little goals set along those walks, but I also am totally enjoying just letting them go for their walk and do their thing. But you have got to be patient, because I catch myself, I swear, I think we all do. Like, come on, let's be real. I get myself impatient when I'm like, dude, you've been sniffing for like 5 minutes.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Like, it can't be that interesting. But it is.
I think it's good. Like the mindful walk is a really good way to put it, because I like to tell myself that we have 2 different types of walks. We have the structured walk, right, where we're doing a walk and maybe we are off-leash hiking, but my dogs are recalling every so often. They're, you know, stationing up on a root or rocks, and we practice stays, or we practice, you know, just paying attention to me. We do some stationing, all different stuff in different places, but then we also have like the sniffari, like free whatever walk. And I think it's important that when you're doing that, like you don't put on all of those boundaries, so that your dog can take their time. And don't forget that when your dog is sniffing something, it's kind of like they're scrolling social media, right?
Yes,
like they're like looking through and they're
forever.
commenting on someone's post because they're leaving their little marks there too.
That's right.
So your dogs need some time to have some social media enjoyment too, I think.
It's true, and I think sometimes pet parents really are like, well, I want my dog to heal. I want my dog to heal. So, but I say, but realistically, if it's a walk with the 2 of you, you need to specify what that means to you. Are you in a scenario like a busy city street where you really need them to just be at your side? But you should still allow those moments then. Maybe have a cue that you can tell your dog, okay, you're free now. You can go off and sniff and do all these things, then come back to me as needed. But to have your dog in like a focused heel the whole time walking,
not very realistic.
Probably also not doing a whole lot of enrichment for your dog mentally as well. So letting them get their sniffs in.
Yeah,
is really
I think
good.
having like set up the right expectations and being mindful about the walks is really important.
Who knew there could be so much to mindful walks?
I know. Honestly, a dog walk is like, oh yeah, I take my dogs on walks, but you can do a lot.
You can.
With a walk.
You can. You found your keys once, right?
That's right. Whiskey did find my keys once.
That's right.
Thank you. And my AirPods.
Mindful
actually.
walks while we're forgetful.
You know, I know we ran out of time, but like there was one time where I was in the snow and one of my AirPods fell out and I was looking for
in the
45
Dude, I would
minutes.
never find it.
45 minutes.
I'd say that's
And then
it.
I was like, you know what, Whiskey? And I showed her my one I had and I was like, can you find it, like jokingly? Literally, guys, less than like 10 seconds. She goes off, comes back with it in her mouth.
No way!
Yes, this is not a fake story. And I was like,
amazing.
I don't have treats. Oh my gosh, you're amazing. Like, I could not believe it. She was like,
That's
oh, Mom, duh,
amazing.
it was right there the whole time in the snow.
She's probably like, let's see how long it takes for Mom to do that.
I was looking for 45 minutes. I was looking up online how much they cost.
This is why the sniffing is important, guys.
Yeah. All right, next topic. You're a good girl.
She's got a whole side gig for a job.
She's like, pay me. Dog travel tips.
Cool. Well, we do love to travel. There's no
know.
doubt about that. Are you doing anything fun this year? Any fun big trips this
I
year?
don't know. I'm feeling boring now.
Yeah,
Chrissy.
I know, but I'm kind of. It's okay. I kind of am too. But you know what? It gives space for us to like do more where we live, and we don't really get a chance to do that because we're usually on the
But
road.
you do have pretty much a dog travel van suit up.
do
Now,
have
I
a
did
travel
get a new car recently, which like I just got a new car because I have a kid.
Yes.
I also have dogs, but I wanted more space in my car. But I wanted a car that could kind of do it all.
Mm-hmm.
So now I do have like a setup with, I got a bigger crate for Oakley,
Yay.
have these little pockets for all their stuff, and I can fit all of my other stuff
Doesn't
too.
that feel good to like have their space? And,
yeah,
and a
it's the best.
crash-tested crate, you know, that brings
Yep.
up a dog travel tip. You know, it's very easy to get a little lax and just say, oh, just throw them in the car. They're used to it. But I'm a really big proponent of having a crash-tested crate, even if it means I'm going to take away some of the interior space of my vehicle. I want to make sure I have them in something safe. God forbid something were to happen.
Yeah, and they have like crash-tested harnesses too, like for people who don't have like the space in their
Sure,
car.
with the tether.
Sleepy pod harness, not even a tether, like an actual like dog seat belt where you can
Cool.
like put the seat belt through the loops. I used to use that when I didn't have the space in my car for crates, and then eventually I suited up and I got all the crash-tested
All the
crates
fancy
and all
stuff.
the fancy stuff.
Yeah.
But I think on top of that, dog travel tips is really important because yes, how they travel in the car is important, but like realizing what your trip is going to look like. If
Yeah.
you're going to road trip, or even if you're doing a 3-hour trip, like what is your dog comfortable in the car? Do you make sure they go to the bathroom before you go? And I know like when we go into the city, sometimes
it's
they don't
tricky.
have places to go to the bathroom. So
It's so
making sure they know
tricky.
to go to the bathroom before we leave has been really,
And
really
having
helpful.
a lot of like, you know, experiences along the way that are positive and negative. You know, I don't leave without certain things now. So I'm like, always leave. I always have Proviable on me, which is like a paste and capsules for dogs who get loose stool.
My husband calls it cement paste because it's cemented.
It really is. It really does. It really does bind them up. But if they're having struggles, that can really help.
Yeah.
And also, you know, if you're traveling quite a bit with your dog to a certain location, having a vet there that already has your records can pay off a lot, because
Yep.
if you need a certain type of food or a prescription, anything, they're going to already have some information instead of saying, hey, you're a new client, we can't take you right now, to maybe even prescribe you some things that you may need if you ran out. or
Yeah,
forgot
and
to
I
bring
think
it.
like depending on what your traveling looks like, it can be really important. I know I've done it when I've flown with my service dog to like print out all of our certificates of the rabies and all the vaccines and having all that paperwork there with me so that if anything were to happen, like here it is.
Right.
I've got it all right here ready. That can be really helpful too. And they make so many cool things like gadgets for like dog water. I know that one thing I always have in my car is like an extra slip leash, just in case whatever happens, we find a dog that I want to bring home.
I know.
Or
I always have extra. I've never been blessed with that. I have a whole crate for this
you're
dog
like,
I'm
I'm
supposed
ready
to
for the
find on
new
the
dog.
road. I'm like, when is this dog going to show up? I'm going to put
Yeah.
him in my crate here. He never shows up. My
if you
husband's
could
thanking me
give
right now.
anybody one tip for traveling with their dog, like let's say they wanted to go on a road trip with their dog. They've got the crate, they've got, you know,
The
they
basic
think they're ready for
essentials.
it. What would you tell them they need to do?
I would say I would be really interested in what climate they're going into, because if they're going somewhere like, we're going to go hike and it's going to be great and it's the middle of June, early July, I'd be very concerned about the heat for that dog.
That's very
So
true.
I would want to know what climate they're stepping into and what that's going to be like. You know, that's something that really means a lot to the dog when you end up being there. You know, taking your dog through a city sounds great, but if it's hot out, your dog could be struggling with this, you know, climate throughout
Yeah,
the
that's
throughout the
true.
pace. So I would really want to know, you know, and is your dog physically able to do all this walking that you're intending to do, or whatever it could be? Taking him to the beach, awesome.
Yep.
You know, are you prepared for your dog to go to the beach and be in a place like that, and all of those questions.
Yeah, I think just like planning it out ahead of time before making sure you know where you're going, and that if it's a dog-friendly place, just having those things set up so you know and there's no surprises.
That's right.
That's important.
Yeah.
All right, we have another topic.
We do have another
and
topic.
my dog, Whiskey,
Great.
come here.
We have lots of topics. Traveling is a
right.
very loaded question.
Let's
There's
try
so
another
much you
one.
can do these days.
Whiskey, come here.
Everybody travels with their dog these days.
Oh, this is a big topic
Ooh,
too.
pet insurance.
All right. I'm a huge fan of pet insurance.
Me too.
I have so many pet insurance stories. Oh my goodness. But
are-
I want to hear what you have to say about pet insurance first.
Okay, well, I have a great pet insurance company that I use called Fetch. They do a great job. I love them. They make it really easy for me to process any claims. I get my dogs into their insurance policies as soon as I get them.
Yep.
Because as soon as you have any kind of pre-existing conditions, it does get difficult.
Yeah, and you know, when someone adopts a
does.
dog, it's like tricky. Like you're, okay, well, what do I do? But honestly, like something can sneak up on you in 2 seconds. So she was the only dog I got as a puppy. And so when I was getting pet insurance for my dogs, they were older when I got pet insurance. I think he
Right.
was like 8 years old when
Was
I
it
got
easy to get it?
It was tricky. And
Was
that's
it?
something that you have to pay
Okay.
attention to each insurance because some of them have better benefits for senior dogs versus other ones that, like, if you have an older dog with potentially pre-existing things,
Sure.
getting pet insurance can be more complicated.
I feel
and
it's
more
hard to
expensive.
switch too.
Yes.
Like once you have one,
That's one
you're
thing
like,
that's, like,
how do
really-
you even switch? Because it's like, well, now we know your dog has pre-existing conditions.
Right,
and, you know,
right.
it gets really tricky that way.
Yeah, and I think some people think pet insurance, it's funny because my husband thought pet insurance was such a funny, like, whatever, pet insurance.
Taboo, yeah.
That's like ridiculous. And then the first time that we really needed to use it, my dog Tucker had a huge emergency surgery that was like $12,000.
Wow.
And
you were
our
able to.
insurance covered 80%
Yes,
of that.
yes.
And immediately after that, he was like, wow, I'm so glad we have pet insurance. Now everyone who gets a pet, I tell them, he tells them, he's not a dog mom, guys. He's a dog dad, but not that
Yeah.
kind of dog dad.
Right.
He tells them, get pet insurance right
Make
away.
sure you do it.
Because when an accident happens,
Yeah.
you have that backup of, oh, I can do what my pet needs
That's right.
because I have this safety net.
And also it can be, well, you can get all coverages, you know, you can go all the way to wellness. So they are doing all the vaccines, all the annuals,
Yep.
or you can just have it. So it's just going to be for those big moments that come by. And of course you have that annual every year where you can kind of adjust rates a little bit if you want more coverage, less deductible, things like that. But it is really helpful. Now I have had some people say, oh, I've had it forever. And I finally just stopped because you know, nothing was ever happening and we don't really go anywhere with our dog. And, you know, so it really is a personal
Yeah.
selection. If you need to do it, want to do it, you don't have to have it. But, you know, what seems easy when they're young can, as they get older,
That's
we
right.
start to see things happen.
Lots more vet visits.
Or
And
if you have a very accident-prone dog.
Yep.
I've had torn nails left, right, up and down with my dogs.
Yeah, I think pet insurance is a great option, and I'm a huge advocate. You are a huge advocate, but not everyone uses it, and that's okay. But I think if you don't have pet insurance, you kind of need to have that safety net or a plan
Sure.
for when accidents happen.
That's right.
Because they're gonna happen. Dogs
They're gonna
get
be
into
expensive.
accidents. They eat things they shouldn't. You know, things happen that you don't expect. Even if you're the safest, most proactive pet parent,
That's
accidents
right.
can happen.
You don't want to have that $7,000 toy that you bought because it now got stuck in their gut and all
Yeah.
that. It can certainly happen. It's very expensive, but it looks like we're both two fans of it, so that's good to hear.
Yeah. Do you have any stories, really quick stories, because
Yeah.
we've got short on time,
Sure.
that pet insurance kind of saved you?
Yeah, you know, honestly, it was when we ran into a really big food issue where Darby had gastroenteritis, but it was
wow.
really bad, like bloody, pretty rough. So very, very, very expensive. But yeah, it was very easy to process the claim and
Yeah.
saved me a ton of money that I would have spent. I was actually on a job, so I was like, oh, well, here goes all that money that I'm going to spend for my poor dog, obviously. But still, though, I was
Yeah,
able
it's
to.
a big expense.
It never feels bad when you get that check and you're like, oh,
Right.
there's
Yeah,
some
I think the pet insurance
glimmer of
has
hope.
given me in the situation where we had an emergency $12,000 surgery.
You never want to feel you can't
I
do
was
it.
like, you know what? No question,
Yep.
because I know that I can submit this
Yep.
and it's going to get taken care of. And so that was like a huge relief, and it just saved me a lot of anxiety as a pet parent.
It's one of those
for
things
sure.
they say you don't feel you need it till you need it. So it is a personal choice, but I just every month all 5 dogs.
Get pet insurance.
We just completed our 4th topic, guys.
I was ready to talk some more, but we do have questions.
We do have 2 questions. And
Okay.
I love this part because these are questions that you have submitted for the show.
right.
Will yours be read today? I don't know. We'll have to stay tuned and find out. We each get 1 question.
Yep.
But we both get to answer it,
All right,
which is pretty
so
cool.
let's dive into it.
All right, I'll answer. I'm going to ask you this one
Okay,
first.
I'm ready.
Okay, this is Vanessa from Brooklyn, New York. Here we go. How can I get my dog to actually pay attention to me at the park when other dogs are around?
Oof. That's a tricky one. That's
It's a tricky one because
one.
in parks, they don't always want you to have food.
With treats. Yeah, you know, I think the biggest thing is that like that question's asking a lot of the dog, right? How can I get them to pay attention to me out in the park? And I'm assuming you're at a dog park, your dog's running around and playing off leash. So it's not just your dog paying attention, it's your dog off leash, probably finding a lot of fun and joy elsewhere, maybe playing with other dogs. So there's a lot of little pieces to break down when you're actually gonna be training that. So it's important to, at home, master that focus first, making sure the dog can pay attention to you at home, then pay attention to you outside, but also off leash, right? So we wanna gradually work up to that and giving our dogs the benefit of practicing it before we get into that hard environment, and also practicing around dog safe dog, but we're not adding the complication of dogs like jumping on your dog while they're trying to pay attention. There's so many factors, but you have to practice these things in bits and pieces before you expect the grand picture to come together.
You may start really far away from the dog park getting focus and end up right next to the fence of the dog park for focus. But also, let's be real, guys. I have 5 dogs. They're fantastic. They do some really cool stuff. If I'm in a dog park or at a dog beach, listen, guys, I lower my expectations.
Yeah, setting expectations.
Because let's be real. I don't care how many times I call my very faithful dogs. They don't care. Like, they're gonna go play. They're at a dog park. That's super cool. So if you're like we talked in the last episode, if I'm a micromanager, I'm gonna end up getting frustrated at my dog. I'm not going to like make them have a great time. I'm gonna now be trying to battle them for attention in an environment that I literally brought them to go enjoy themselves.
Yeah, and last tip, I know our time is up, but remember, like if your dog's playing at the dog park and the only time that you're asking for their attention and to come back to you is when you're gonna leave, you're probably not gonna find coming to you very fun. So keep that in mind when you're doing things fun with your dog. If you call them back to you and they come, tell them they did amazing and let them go play so that they find coming back to you to be a good thing.
I love that. That's
all right, another question.
Okay, here we go.
Okay.
All right.
All right, Morgan from Boulder, Colorado. My dog gets nervous in new places. Any tips to help him feel more confident during outings?
That's a tough one for sure, you know, because we don't know where this nervousness is kind of deriving from. It can be anywhere from like just a dog that maybe didn't get proper exposure, socialization. It could be genetics. It could be so many things, loud noises. My biggest thing is my first thing that came to mind is don't flood them whatever you do. And when we say flood, we mean don't put the dog in a scenario and it's sink or swim. Survive, go. And that can be, if they don't have the tools in place, it's like I have anxiety. I've had anxiety since I was a child. And if I didn't have tools of learning how to cope and master being in new places, it would really spin me out. So that's important for also a dog that has nerves.
Yeah.
Now, if you're gonna have a dog that goes into a new place and has a lot of, you know, nervousness around certain areas, then maybe you do these baby steps, keep these outings a lot shorter, and work with a trainer, because there's some other ways that you can offer some safe exposure and controlled scenarios to help your dog gain that confidence.
Yeah, that's so true. I think there's 2 things that I would suggest to someone, no matter what kind of fear it is that the power of sniffing is really, really helpful. Dogs have a whole other world that we don't even tap into very often. A lot of times they are not using their nose as much as they should when they get fearful. They're looking at things that they maybe are afraid of. They're hearing things that maybe they're afraid of. So if you can encourage your dog to just sniff, maybe that's putting some treats in the grass, and sniffing the ground can really help them kind of calm down and get their senses to kind of take a little breather. And like you said, taking small little steps. So maybe if it's going outside is the fearful thing, going outside, sniffing in the grass, playing with a toy, going back inside and keeping it short and simple and successful. So, but that's our time.
Those are great questions.
Yeah, that was a great. If you guys want to submit more questions, go to dogtv.com/thedogmoms. Send us a question so we can answer it right here on the show.
That was such a great episode. I loved all the topics. We love sharing all of our information with you, and like it comes from the heart. Again, we don't know these topics before we get to see them. So we really, really, truly love our dogs, and we love to hear from you as well. So be sure to send us those questions. We have more episodes coming. I love that we're on season 2, and we hope to see you again on this amazing show called The Dog Moms.
Dog moms, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Dog moms.